like to keep it like that, to keep the highlight at on the lowest part of the screen. So now we can turn this back on. See, now we have kind of a nice sky behind it. I could really beef this up a little bit. So let me go a little darker. Rather than to try to mess back and forth with gradients on it, I'm just going to use the brush. I'm going to use the soft brush, which is that one normally. Which, by the way, I just discovered the beauty of this right here. I love that, because it keeps the brushes you're currently using all together. You don't have to go scrolling around to find them. So that's a good way to do clouds. So I'm just going to pick maybe a little closer to like a deeper purple, maybe. And keep my brush size up. And just to make the sky just a little bit deeper up at the top. It just adds a bit more depth. And again, we're going to have trees in the way, so don't sweat it too much. Yeah, you do want, that's right, you do want fill on for the vector. Here are my vector settings. Do you have it set the right way here, Panda? It's not broken. It may be one of these settings. You want to keep it in over. That might be why it's not working. Yeah, you'll want to make sure the fill is on. You want to make sure that your opacity is somewhere up in the upper range. And for your initial sky color, you'll want that off. It's only when you put in the secondary color. Okay. So there we go. We got a nice sky going on. We got something. All right. We'll go into this and select that color. Now we'll go with a lighter version of the color. Just doesn't have to be way up, but we're going to add highlights to it now because we already have the shadows. So this is where you want this. Actually, you could put it in on or over, but when you're going to get close to the edge, it helps to have it in on mode. So this could take a little time. Now you can also keep gradient on. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to use gradient with this. And again, the opacity up kind of high. Because this makes for the more interesting when the gradient is on. So I'm going to avoid getting it into, and yes, I just said gonna. I'm going to avoid getting this into the shadow areas and try to keep it up where the highlights would actually be. Where it looks like it's the brightest. And again, I'm not sweating it. I'm just going to scribble these in really quickly because we have a long... This is going to be a lot of these. Yes, I'm going directly on the color layer, the dirt color. And another helpful class that you might want to watch in conjunction with this, because with this you'll see that mostly the light source is coming from directly above. That just sort of naturally happens when you use the brush, at least. Well, you could direct it more, but it tends to look like the light source is coming from above. So you just pick out the areas that look like the sun would be hitting them if it was directly above. Don't worry about where the gradient happens to fall. Yep, I crashed. So already we have that much. You see the highlights really, they add quite a bit. I'm just going to continue. This could be a little time consuming, and the technique, if you have questions, I can answer them. But generally, this is just going to take a little time here, so if you want to go get a drink or visit the loo, now would be actually a pretty good time to do that. We have time here. The loo. And this is all kind of guesswork. You just look at what looks like it's sticking out more prominently than other things, and it's fully adjustable, of course. You can come back in and make adjustments later. And I'm keeping the general plane of everything, again, kind of flat. I'm not using a lot of up and down here. Most of it's left to right, right to left. Hi, Jules. You? Nice to see you. Of course, the things way at the top, they'll be more highlighted than some of the things at the bottom. Oh, I was going to say another class, I forgot, I kind of interrupted myself. Another class that you would find useful is Mad just did a class on the light and dark before we had the dark versus light competition. So if you want to get an idea of, more of an idea that I can explain here or take the time to explain with shadows and light, you do have to keep your light source in mind and think in terms of shadows and light. What? I'm losing track a little bit of what's going on in chat. Now I'm not going to really worry too much about highlights down here, because I'm thinking about right in this area. I'm just doing this for illustration. Right in this area, right in here. I'm thinking I'm going to have water in there. So I'm not too worried about highlighting the rocks too much down below that, because the light really wouldn't be that dramatic down there anyway. So we'll have a pool going on. We'll see how this works. I mean, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm just kind of going by the seat of my pants here. And yep, up in the higher areas you can do bigger areas and highlight, because they naturally would be. And again, we're going to be putting plant life up there anyway. All right. I think I'm going to stop with the highlights right there, as he does one more. You guys got any questions now that I can pay attention to chat a little more? Hello, Dewey. I'm glad you could pop in for however long. Good to see you. No questions? Okay. What vector am I using? I'll show you my settings. I have it in on mode right now just to do the highlights. No, I'm not going to worry too much about doing highlights in the lower part, Mark, because I'm going to make a lot of water down there. That sounds bad. Oh, my Dee Dee is here. I'm pretty happy about that. I'll put a few in down here, but generally speaking, the light wouldn't, you wouldn't see very much going on down here. Okay. So, yeah, let's decide where the water's going to go. I'm going to go up into an upper layer, and I'll pick a sky color, because that's always good. And I'm not going to use a, I'm not going to use a straight line like that, because that's boring and not very natural. So again, I'm just going to kind of, you can get random with this. You don't have to worry too much about it. The details work themselves out. So I'm going to go like this, a little back there, a little up and down. Actually, I'll tell you what, let me put it on solid instead of gradient. Knock the opacity down a little bit. And I'm kind of, this is where I'm kind of sort of in rough territory here. I don't know, I'm kind of winging this. Alright, see, it just looks natural. Watch, I'll do it again with a completely different line. It goes down here, it goes up there, and it goes over this way over here, and then it goes that way. It really kind of, it'll make sense. See what I mean? So you don't have to sweat the details. I don't really know why I'm doing this again. I think I'd like to do it with a bit lower opacity and maybe just a bit darker color. We'll see how this works. And I think I'll go a bit lower. And still I'm sticking to kind of a left and right motion. Alright, so there we go. I'm just going to stick with that. Alright, now, because the sky has that gradient to it, I am going to take the brush, and again I'm making this up as I go here at this point. I got that brush, we're going to take it down, the opacity down so that it fits in the top. I'm going to select the brightest color. I need the brush in on mode. Okay. There we go. Just to put sort of a gradient in the water. Now I can go back and forth. I can go back up and select the dark color, come in and bolster that, reinforce that color down at the bottom. So there we go. Now we have a little more natural look. Now, alright, here we go. I hate this part. I hate this. Doing the waterfall. I recently found out through experimenting that using vector, want it in over. Thank you. We're going to put this on its own layer, so if I screw this up, it's not going to ruin anything I've done so far. I'm going to pick one of these colors, just somewhere in this range in the middle. Could be wrong, could be right. And I'm going to do this. Go into square mode. Gradient on or off. I'm gonna stick with off and keep the opacity not totally high, but pretty good. Because at some point, all right, let me try this again. All right, I know. All right, let me try this another approach. We're free falling, ladies and gentlemen. Still want it in over, but I'm going to do it in freehand mode instead. And I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to zigzag this way a little bit, come in and do this, put another one down here maybe. These are places where I'm thinking the water would hit. So I'm kind of coloring in the shelves, so to speak. Let's see, it probably would run down this way a little bit. I kind of think this one through a little bit. Okay? Now I'm going to take the square, and hopefully this won't look too awkward, because water always falls straight down. See that? I used to try to get this by drawing it by hand, and it sucked. So see, now you always have the water falling straight down when you use the square. And you can put in little, you know, actually I should have gone all the way down. And you do the same thing with the reflections too, by the way. So some of this is going to fall down here. I know, I'm genius. Some of it's going to fall right down there. And because I have this, I think I do. Yes, I do. On its own layer, I can make adjustments as I go. I can trim off the bottom. You see it looks pretty jaggy right there. Yeah, we're going to pretty much fix that. So there you go. You got kind of a waterfall thing happening. G.D. Ross. That's me. Alright, coffee sip break. Because my coffee's getting cold. Alright. So far, so good. That's going to be running off there. A little bit here. Just where it looks logical to you. Pretty cool, huh? Woohoo! Who's the man? Alright. So that's going to come over here, and that's going to drop down here. There'll be a little runoff there. You can always lighten up your opacity and layer it in more like a watercolor if you want. So if it just looks too aggressive for you, you can do this. You know, so it gives it some depth here and there. Yeah, you got to kind of think about where the water is going to actually be falling off this edge you've created here. A little more here, a little more there. Pretty cool, huh? Well, it's a good thing you're here now. Okay, now you'll see, like I said, that bottom edge looks pretty jaggy. So we're going to cover it up. We're going to put, actually, you know what, let's put a couple over here. That looks like that would have some coming off there. Ooh, I think I overdid it. Alright, yeah, that works. I can live with that. I'm going to cover it up with splashing. And I tend to like to use a different layer for everything that I do here. So for right now, just to sort of blend it in, I'm going to use the brush, the airbrush, soft brush, if you will. Not very big. Opacity way down. I'm just going to soften, put it in freehand again. So we'll just kind of, it's still too big. Yeah, I just want to take that hard edge off the bottom. Aaron, can you hear a little Victor Wooten going on here? Alright. So there we go. It's a little better. I probably could have left it. Like I said, we're going to cover it all up anyway. So I'm alright with this. I'm going to merge it down just to keep my layers. And then I'm going to go back up to that layer that I just cleared. And we'll put in a few more of these things. Wait, we need this in over mode. Because we're going to put some highlights in now. And again, I'm kind of doing this seat of the pants kind of thing. Put gradient in on this time. You want to keep the gradient in on because some of the highlights, you'll see why. And we're going back to the square mode again because you want them perfectly vertical. Oh, I see Dee Dee left. Okay. Yeah, it might be a little aggressive. And keep these really thin. These are better if they're thin. And just pull them down. Don't worry too much about where they go. But yeah, keep them nice and thin. See, so that's... You don't want them too long. And again, it's kind of a... I realize this is sort of like a mechanized sort of look. You can go back in and blur a little bit. You can massage these how you want to. But you always want to start up around where the rock edge is. That's where you're going to catch most of the reflections. So I'll start laying them in a little quicker. Now that we get the idea. I don't want this to take forever. Which isn't the style of my artwork anyway. I tend to like things to go along quickly. I like results fast. Yeah, I did, Joel. Yep. Just make sure that, like up in here, that edge. Hello. I have returned. Anyway. Yeah, you want to keep close to that edge, that horizontal edge, or the close to horizontal, where the rock edge is. That's where you want to start most of these. And because we have this on another layer, yes, because it's on another layer, we can go back in and trim them. You don't have to be careful. Some of these I'm making a little fatter, but I don't want to spend a ton of time if I don't have to here. See how nice that is? Do ya? Come on, there we go. Alright, so that's the general idea for getting the water reflections in. And they're all nice and vertical, you know what I mean? They all line up very nicely. And like I said, you can go back in and blur them so they don't necessarily look so mechanical. I'm not sure I'm going to bother with that. But I am going to take vector and erase now and turn the opacity all the way up because we want to trim these off. So I'm just going to, oops, I want freehand. And I'm just going to follow that edge. Just clip them off so they're not sticking up above this water line here. See what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing there? Just a little cleanup work. There we go. See how nice that is? That actually came out pretty good. I'm most pleased. Okay, now I'm going to go down to here. We're going to put more highlights in. I think... keep it in on. Gradient, we're going to put gradient back on. Gradients tend to look really good on the reflections. And I think I'm just going to, like... We'll see. I might end up undoing a lot of this. No, looks alright. So you want to keep them perpendicular to the lines that you just put on. In other words, keep them as horizontal as you can. And I'm just doing quick little gestures like this, just back and, well, I have to do it down here, back and forth. Just quick gestures. That's a rather large one, but I'm doing very, very little ones. And the nice thing is, too, we're going to use, when we get into the brushes a little later here, we're going to make this really look great. We're going to come back to it. So, okay, there we go. And come down. Yeah, okay, we're still on that. I just started doing that on the wrong layer, by the way, just so you know. But non-critical. Now, here's a brush that I hate. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. And it's a really cool brush that Kadima made. Kadima is one of the original Sketch Club users. And I love this brush because the texture is fantastic. But it's a little challenging for me anyway, if I can find it. Where is my water brush? Oh, let's try this. Because I did use it fairly recently. Where are you? There it is, right there. Oops, right there. Okay, we want this on white. You want the opacity up full. The size, it varies. Okay. Yep, that's right. It's in, and it does a really cool texture. I'm going to use it in the on mode. You know what? I'm going to merge down my highlights. I'm trying to keep my layers to a minimum for some. That's just my way. If you can load up on layers, go for it. I love this brush. Put it in over mode. Make sure your canvas. I can't get this part right. I have to have my canvas completely. I fight with this thing. I will warn you. Let's go find it. Right in the Kadima pack. I think it's called like reflection, something like that. I could be wrong here. There it is. See it? Landscape waves right in the middle, right here. Yeah, I'm downloading it again. Nope, landscape waves. So now I have it there again. I don't really need it again. Okay. So yeah, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this thing. Turn the opacity down. And it's because of the oval. It's hard for me to be happy. I can play with this thing for a long time. I really love that texture. me try it a little bigger, see if I like it better. See, sometimes it gets overwhelming kind of fast. I use it smaller in the distance. That's not too bad. That's okay. See, I kind of like that. Yeah, I wish the edges of it were a little more irregular. It's that oval, the definite oval shape. So I'll knock the size down and do some more in the background here. Kind of knock the opacity down some more maybe, so it's more subtle. So it's a pretty good brush. You can see it does a great water texture. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to take the waterfall. Oh, you know what? I want that waterfall just a bit more transparent. So I'm going to merge that down. I'm going to copy this down and separate the two again. So I need vector on erase. Okay, full opacity, gradient off. I'm going to separate the waterfall from this. So I need on one layer, I need to erase the waterfall. Totally gone. And on the other layer, I need to erase everything but the waterfall. So now I have them on two separate layers. Okay. The reason I did that is I want to just make that, yeah, just a little more like that, just a little more transparent. And now I can merge it down again. I'm happy with that. Okay. Doesn't that look better? I think it does. All right. 47 minutes into this thing. And time for another CD. Because the music is just good. Nice to have music in the background. Eric Johnson's Souvenir album. Okay. Again, quietly. Oh, maybe my battery died. Maybe no more music. Oh well. Alright. We are about ready to start adding some adding some vegetation. Which this gets into a whole new realm of cool. Because now we're going to be into greens, and we'll put colored flowers in here. So now we get into the cool brushes. I think I'm going to merge down my outline down onto the color layer. So now all of that is on one layer. And we'll work in a layer above that. Okay. So let's pick something that's cool. There's a, let me go back to slots. I don't know where to tell you where this brush is. Without looking right now, I probably should have looked this up. You're going to have to find this one on your own, because I really don't want to take the time to go find this particular brush, but it's one that I found that I really like for like mossy textures. So I think I'm just going to keep, like in my desert picture, I kept the vegetation close to where the water was, and it's a default? Excellent. Okay, great. That's handy. I'm going to keep the vegetation, kind of start with a dark color. We'll add highlights later. And I'm going to keep it close to the water. Not right up next to it necessarily, maybe in some places. but we're going to be very casual about the whole thing. And I clearly have to have that a little larger. Keep the opacity all the way up. Maybe a little smaller. Maybe not quite 100% opacity. There we go. I can work with that. And I'm just going to put moss, just, you know, just touching. I'm just kind of not heavy-handed. You can't be heavy-handed with this. It looks much more natural. Bob Moss, that's it. That's awesome. But I'm just kind of tapping in little bits of it. It looks better if you just kind of, you know, I find anyway, it looks better if I just don't get heavy-handed with it and kind of lay it in kind of sparingly on what looks to be the flat surfaces on either side. So we'll do that. Just little bits. It's so cool. This is just, I love this. And now, let's see, I think I can actually put some behind here. Yeah, it goes, isn't that cool? It goes behind the waterfall. I'll put a little behind there, because there would be some. It is simple. None of this is really simple. It's just being light with it. And again, it takes practice. It's not like, you know, this didn't take me a few times to learn to do it correctly. You know what I mean? If it doesn't look right for you the first time out, rest assured it didn't look right for me the first time out. Alright, so I think I'm gonna just leave a little there maybe. Down here. We're going to add shading to this, because light would be hitting this as well. It's not going to be one solid color. So I'll put some up there maybe. Okay. And just add little bits of it, less as you go out, away from the water. Because there wouldn't be, it's going to be more prevalent closer to where the water is. Look at that. That's purty. That's purty and stuff. When we get to the top of the hour, we'll have a BP. If you want to pause the recording, we'll take a couple of minute break, because I could use a cup of coffee. And we'll reconvene in a few minutes afterwards, like in 5 minutes. Does that sound doable? Pause the recording. I like that. I want to be here. I want to splash around in this water. Okay, we'll do that at the top of the hour. I got 6 minutes to go. Yeah, there you go, everybody in. So that's all on its own layer. So now we can go in with the same brush and just brighten it up a little bit. Pick a nice, little bit lighter color of it. Put the brush in on mode. You might want to do it a little smaller, maybe. And this could take some time, because you're going to like just highlight the top edge of all of this. And again, the more time, keep in mind, the more time you spend noodling around with this, the more pleased you'll be with the effects. I mean, I like fast artwork, but I find that when I slow down a little bit, I actually like my results much better. There we go. Yeah, I like that. And choose the colors that make you happy. You don't have to necessarily go with exactly my color choices. Pudding is really good, yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm finding that my palm is resting. I have the microphone on the lower side of the iPad, and I'm finding that I keep covering it with my palm. You guys can hear me okay, right? I keep palming the mic. And we're back. Yep. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of adding just a little bit of highlight to what I'm doing. Let's just reset my size on me. Sketchbot has such a good sense of humor. And we'll put some flowers in here. This is going to look so pretty. Good stuff. So I'll just hurry up and finish this part up before we take a break. Cool, huh? Like that? It's looking pretty good so far. I'm happy. I'm a happy boy. Yeah, I like it. And now I see a lot of people, sometimes they put color dots so they can have their color references up or use the palette. I never do that. I just keep selecting from the colors I've already used. With 2 minutes to go, I'm going to throw a cloud in the sky. Excuse me. We use a cloud brush. This is my standard cloud technique. I do it all the time. I get Tino's smoke brush, clouds. Of course, we want a nice white cloud. Pick the size up quite a bit, opacity up quite a bit. I love this technique. I got it in over mode. And the thing that's cool about this brush, when you go slow, you get little. You go fast, you get big. Isn't that cool? So you can do chemtrails. So keep that in mind. You can, get a nice variation in texture. You get some detail and then get some big, softer effects as well. So that's what I do. I do a nice outline like that, right? And then I go up to the brush and use erase mode. And I get the soft brush. Okay, kick the size up about like that. And I erase the underside of it. Let me get a little more opacity. And I erase just the underside of the cloud. Leave the top part. You want that. That's where the highlight is. So you erase. You don't care what any of that, when you're drawing this, you don't care what any of the bottom looks like, because it's going to just disintegrate anyway. How cool is that? I love this technique. I love making clouds like this. No, you're not too late. We still got like another hour to go. I'll put in one more layer and then we'll take a break. Show you how that goes again. You get the smoke brush, Keep your opacity up, keep your size fairly well, and put another one in. Now we put one lower. So you don't want to ruin all those nice little dark areas. Kind of stay away from it. Fill it in. Then again, you go into erase. You go in with the soft brush and erase just the underside of it. How much is really up to you. You can get really close to that edge. And this is how I did, if you remember the, yep, I erase with the soft brush. Make it with the cloud. I've tried to erase with the cloud brush and I don't really like the technique. But see how cool that is? It builds in your shadows. Alright, we got 9 o'clock. We can pause the recording for a little bit. How about we 10 after? Come back at 10 after? And we're back. Yes, we are. Okay. Excuse me. Now, I'm working up burps, that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing to be working up belches when I have a class to teach. All right. We are starting again. So, we'll start out first of all. Has anybody got any questions about what you've seen so far? Because it's a little hard for me to like do a bunch of moss and keep track of questions. So do we have any questions at all regarding the class? It's like I Dream of Jeannie. I just blinked it in. That was it. Okay, waterfall question. What's that, Mangu? The perspective on it? It's not really a lot of perspective. I pretty much just keep basic horizontal in mind. I used the vector with the square mode to keep everything perfectly vertical, to actually make sure that all turned out totally vertical. So there's not a lot of perspective really. It's just a matter of like these areas that are flatter. I generally kept them horizontal. It's not going to be perfectly flat. It wouldn't in nature anyway. So we'll be putting some little splashes. Add just in there. I think I'm going to add a bit more moss. Yep, that guy. I think I want to make that a little bit more prevalent out in, where am I here? Where did the extra cloud layer come from? You know where it came from. Yeah, because I think it would be kind of fun to have a little more flowers and grass and stuff. So I'm going to do this kind of quickly. Just wherever it looks logical to have it on the flat, basically where you put highlights. And this is, again, you know, when I put these highlights on the rocks, you go very quickly because you're going to cover this stuff up. You know, don't sweat it too much because most of the time you're just going to cover it up. So don't worry too much. So you kind of want to festoon your areas with moss. They're festooned. Yeah, I like that better. Yep, we'll be putting flowers in. Yeah, crasheroni. Oh, and it reset everything? I hate it when you do that to me. I don't know what I'd do, baby, if I can't get a hold of you, and maybe we could get together and stop this tail chasing around. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I mean for welcoming me back, not for singing. I'm like Pavlov's dog. I'll just do that on command. I'm very easy. I'm very workable. Behave yourself. Behave yourselves. Alright. I think that's enough moss. Because we're going to add grass and stuff to it anyway. So it doesn't all have to be about the moss. Alright, cool. We got that far. What will we do next? Let's do some splashes. Which we'll add that to the waterfall. The skin brush. Some people use this for skin tones. That works really well for this. For just doing little splashy, foamy things. So we'll do that. We'll put that all in here. Make sure we're on the right layer. I want to go above. I'm going to add it above. I'm very kind of non-committal. So I don't have to do a lot of undos. If I screw this stuff up, I can just clear the layer. Just going to go with white. Little splashy white things. Keep the brush down. Keep the opacity up. I might want a different brush. Something a bit more aggressive. There we go. Maybe that looks a bit more. Oh, jeez. It was a bit too aggressive. There we go. Just to sort of mask the bottom edge a little bit. See that? Just to add a little something something down at the bottom of these things. I have this in over mode, by the way. Yep. Well, you could have opacity. Yeah, I don't have the opacity turned all the way up. I could. I'll show you what that looks like. Because basically, again, I'm just kind of scribbling it in, not really worrying about it too much. You put some of that in right at the bottom of where the water would be hitting in each of these. A lot of this goes along very quickly. I mean, the highlighting the moss and things like that, yeah, that can take some time. You could also use the cloud brush for this, by the way. Cloud brush would be okay here. And you don't want a completely vertical, or I'm sorry, horizontal line for this. You want to make it actually kind of look a little splashy. Splashy. So yeah, because some places it's going to fall a little farther and make a little more of a splash than others. It is deciding to rain pretty good here right now in upstate New York. There we go. Cool, huh? I like that. Almost forgot that one. There we go. Look at that. I like this. Yeah, I'm drawing in sound effects now. Now, I'm not going to bother to, but that area could go back in and take the time. Right there, I fixed that, but I already collapsed the layers, and that could take some time. So, you know what, I'm just going to cover it over with splash. There we go. Thank God for splashies. There we go, problem fixed. That's a little overdone. I think somebody left cotton there or something. That's right. I'm incorporating sound effects in too. Okay, so we're that far. This is the other thing I love to do with the waterfall. I love this brush right there. Love this brush. Keep my opacity down, or my size down a little bit. Aw. Then we're going to put this in right there, right where this... That might be a bit too aggressive. Let me pick a smaller size. I love those sparkles. Sparkles. There's nothing like a nice set of sparkles. Catching the sunlight. Sparkling it up everything there. It's sparkly. Put a few up there. I tend to like to really kind of use them more along that line than getting them into the water. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that look beautiful? Actually, you know who it sounds more like when I talk like this? It's William Murderface from Metalocalypse. That's who it reminds me more of. Kind of speaking like this. I love that effect. Love the sparkles in there. I'll put a few down here, but they generally would be obscured by the mist. And you can come out here. This is what's nice. Put a few out here. Kind of randomly sprinkled. Sprinkle the sparkles around. Isn't that pretty? I don't even know what layer I'm working on right now. I've totally lost track. Look at that. Woo! That is pretty. Alright. We're doing good. We got rocks, we got water, we got highlights, we got splashes, we got reflections. Alright, let's go back in and play up here and put some grass in. Some grass. Now, I came up with, excuse me, I came up with this brush right here. This is the special GothDaddy grass brush. I love this thing. It blends very nicely. I put it in, let's go find it. Oh, wait. That's not what I want. Oh, let's try again. I think I put it in nature, because it just seemed natural for me to do that. Did I do it? Yeah, see right in the middle? That's where you'll find it in the nature thing. Yeah, we'll go back, Darren. And let's see, let's keep it fairly up. I like the opacity where it is. And I'm just going to work right on the same moss layer. I could do another layer or not. Doesn't matter. So I like this brush. I think I need a little smaller. Because it's better when you're using it bigger. This may not be the best example of how to use it, although it works really well anyway. But just kind of softly adds a little in there. I'll show you an easier way, because I want to put a foreground in here. I'm going to merge down the sparkles, so now all the water's on one layer. And we'll come up here with vector, and I'll throw in a very quick foreground. Keep it in over mode, no gradient, 100% opacity, and I'll stick with just a slightly darker green. So we'll kind of draw this in this way, and it comes up this way, and there you go. Okay. I'll go back to my grass brush, and now we'll kick the size up. Keep the opacity all the way up. Now, let me undo that. If you go with this brush, if you go left to right, see it has nice, the points are up. If you go the other way, see the way it looks stubbly? I haven't adjusted that yet, so I always tend to use this thing going in one direction. So I use the same color as I laid in with the vector, and I just basically destroy that sharp edge with the grass brush. And this is, again, this is the GothDaddy grass brush. I love this brush. I'm very proud of myself with this brush. And it works. I'll show you how well it works too for actual shading. See how nice that looks? Very natural. So I just wanted to demonstrate really how that's a nice brush for that. It might not show up so well back here. You know what I mean? It might be a little too much for back there. But it's a very nice brush. We'll come back to the foreground. I'll turn that off because I know I just confused Panda. So we're just continuing to add things here. So we'll just soften some of this up with the grass brush a little. Take the opacity or the size down. Just to kind of soften it, you know, put some extra areas in. This really gets into playing. There's not, you don't have to necessarily follow everything I'm doing here, because I'm playing at this. I admit it at this point. I'm just kind of playing with getting the textures I want in. You can't really ruin it, you know? You're not going to ruin it by... It also helps to choose other... go in and mix up the color a little bit. Sometimes darker, sometimes lighter. See the way it kind of softens? You use it around the edge and it kind of softens that moss brush so it kind of looks more organic, like it just is naturally blending in. And kind of randomly, don't worry that it all has to go on looking the same way. Sometimes under, sometimes over. It's scribbling. It's all scribbling. Just remember that. Put some highlights on top. This is where I really like this grass brush for the highlights. And just kind of tap it in. No big long lines necessary. I kind of messed that up over on the other side, but if you just kind of tap in, that is all right, Kimmers. It's all being recorded. But you did miss my singing during the intermission. I don't know what I'd do, baby, if I can't get a hold of you, and maybe we could get together and stop this here tail chasing round, yeah, yeah. Alright, so we got some grass in there. We'll put some in here too. Kind of forgot up in there. Oops. I was so pleased to go through my CDs and find a CD with, and I wish the batteries hadn't died in my player, because I'd put it on and embarrass myself by singing No Diggity. I love that song. I love that song. Look at how nice this is looking. We got rocks, we got grass. Nice stuff. Nice stuff going on. So you add the grass, yeah, and it just kind of softens the moss, the edges of the moss, because it really does look kind of hard-edged. So that's pretty much why I'm throwing it in there. Alright. What else can we add? Let's see what other brushes we have to play with. That's what's fun about this. It's all just playing around with textures. Like you can even take like a tree brush, for instance, and turn it into a shrub. It doesn't have to be a full-size tree. And if you don't want to mess up what you've just done, you can put things on a layer. Let's not put pine trees. We'll put pine trees. We'll pretend there's a mountain in the background. We'll throw a new layer on and drag it behind the hills, behind the rocks we did. And I don't know. Pick a nice pine tree kind of color, I guess. Let's go with a lighter one. Like it's in the distance. Just playing. Pick a smaller size because it's way in the distance. It was a crash. I hope everyone's okay. Oh, we'll just put some trees. We'll put it like, you know, like there's a little pine mountain back there somewhere. Incorporate it over this way too a little bit. We'll pick up some of these colors and throw a few of those in there randomly, just kind of spotting them in. You don't want it to inundate what you just did. Very casual about the whole thing because you want to maintain some layers, you know, some feeling of depth. And then we'll go with even darker. But now we're going to keep this dark layer low because I want it just peeping up over the horizon here so that it differentiates between the rocks and the pine things. And it doesn't have to be the pine. I didn't have to really continue with that. It could have been some other type of vegetation entirely. That's the nice thing. I love to go and explore the brushes. I haven't done that. I haven't really gotten into, you know, playing with newer brushes. I tend to find what I like and play with that. So there we go. So now we got some more depth going on. And the cool thing is now, oh, I don't like that. Now that you have something like that, you can go in with a filter, and if you want some distance, lower the contrast. So it makes the whole thing kind of misty. See, and it sets it back. So now there's some atmosphere in the air. Now there's like humidity in the air between the layers. Yep. And if you want to take that step even further, you could do this on a separate layer, but I'll probably undo it. I'll go with the soft brush again, the soft round brush, which doesn't sound nearly as sexy when I say it. And you can put in mist. See that? You can put in just a layer of mist to further separate the layers. So now you got some real depth in there. Actually, I kind of like that. I think I'll keep it. We're coming up with a pretty good landscape. I got about a half hour left. So let's just continue to pretty up this layer, the green layer, with longer grass. I'll pick some of the darker, I think. Doesn't really matter, just I want dark. Oh, I don't know. Maybe go a little bit darker. Choose some other kind of bush kind of thing. To go with that, that looks fun. Maybe it'll suck, maybe not. We'll find out. Thank you. Thanks. Alright. Not dark enough. I'm going to do this on a different layer. I don't want to screw up my... By the way, it should be noted that the very first landscape class I did, we had a compo afterwards. And the winner of that compo was Black Pawn, who actually did, and I'll have to admit it, he did a better job than I did. You did a great job on it. You won. There we go. I could actually use that smaller. Yeah, if you go back and you look at that, it's kind of funny. I was like, hey, you're not supposed to win. I'm supposed to win. I entered my own compo. And I think I placed, but yeah. So we just take a different brush and we'll put some of this in because some of this grows there. I don't know what it is. Put some over here. And I'll show you a cool way to highlight all this. Take some smaller so it doesn't all look the same size. I don't even know what this stuff is, but it's growing all over the place. It's indigenous to my landscape. I love this. This is like gardening to me. This is like without getting dirty. It's all just playing around. Lots of fun. Let's see, some of it grows over here. This is cool. Now we go into on mode and pick a highlight color, which of course would be just a lighter shade of the same thing. You can adjust this a little bit one way or the other. Doesn't really matter. And you put it in on mode because you don't want any more. She is doing a great job. Red always does such a good job of translating my nonsense. There's Sabrina. There you are. So I'm just adding, and I'm going to go over the top of this again. I'm just putting it in kind of randomly over top using on mode of what I already did. But I'm going to go in one more time and add the same dark color over top of the highlight color. So don't worry about it too much. It's kind of a random thing where it goes. Just keep in mind that your shadows will be on the underside of the plants. So you want to put this more along the top. So then we can go back in again and pick the dark color. Maybe knock the opacity down a little bit for more variation. And kind of tap that in there. Put some of that in. I love you guys. Let me throw that in there. So now it's recorded. So now anytime you need a little love, you can just come back to this lesson. Come back and watch the tape and Feel the love. Yep, so you knock the opacity down, come back in and go right over what you just did. Keep in mind this is all in on mode. Sketch Club rocks. You have created such a cool thing here, Jim. Everybody loves you. It's awesome. More than just a drawing app. Way more than just a drawing app. It's home. It's my new home. I don't need nobody knock on your door. Look at that. All you have to do is show a little appreciation. And you know, alright, the way you're feeling right now, this is how you get into the vortex. Is by feeling exactly what you're feeling right now. That appreciation. When you're in a mode of appreciation, you are in a mode to attract things into your life that you like. So do that. It's a law of attraction. As much as I'm going to say about it in class. You can talk to me about it anytime. Alright, so now we got some shrubbery growing around there. Shrubbery. Let's put some darker. I'm going to go back and again, I'm kind of playing here. I'm going to go back with my grass brush wherever I buried that. And put some darker grass in. On that mode, on that. There we go. Just to add some shadows, just in the areas where, on the underside of where the moss is. Forgot to put it in on mode. So there we go. See that? It just kind of adds a shadow to the edge, the lower edge. I'm sticking with the lower edge. On just all of these little levels. Give it a bit more depth. Oh man, I can just smell those cookies. I want to cram one in my mouth, but I won't be able to explain anything. Yep, I got the brush in on mode. And I'm working on the layer now. See, I did the shrubs up on that layer. Now I'm back down working on the grass. Hi, Molly. And you can actually like deepen this up like that'll be tucked under that rock right there, so you can start to think of where the light is falling. You can darken in and put some shadows. Like let's say that's all recessed. The places where you put the black now are going to be tucked back in underneath other rocks. So where you see shadows already in the rocks, that's where you want to kind of apply again, if you want darker grass color. Want a great tutorial on shadows and light and getting used to all that is Mad just did a nice class a little while ago, about a month ago maybe. Did a great version, or a great explanation of light and dark. And it adds a lot of texture to put this, like that'll all be dark way under there. That's all tucked under. And you know why it is? Because I say it is. Like Bob Ross said, you are the creator of your own world here. So what you say goes. You really can't really get it wrong. See, that's tucked under a rock right there. This is tucked in under here. That's all dark back there. See that? It all kind of, let's see, that's all tucked in under there. Nice, huh? Just dropping the shadows in, just wherever you think the light is hitting or retreating from. I'm liking this. You know what's cool about this? I started this out and I had no plan. It's like we're just going to do rocks and put some vegetation on the rocks. That was the whole lesson plan. And here we have something really pretty. Oh, okay. That's all right. So let's what seems to be missing. We got a lot of layers going on here. Look at this. I got a cloud layer. I'm going to merge that down so I can begin to reuse some of these. I'll put this underneath the rocks. And here comes my least favorite part. Vector on, gradient off, 100% up. And I hate doing this, but here we go. Pick a nice, very dark brown. I'm rarely happy with my trees. I have to kind of work at them. I erase some, I put some in. It actually went pretty good. Let's do another one, shall we? Not too bad. Not too bad. I always feel like I'm trying too hard though when I'm doing branches and trees and stuff. I always feel like I'm just trying just a little too hard to get it to look natural. And what tool do you use, Mark? What one do you typically use? See, that's just way too thick. So I could either redo it or I just kind of go in and try to fix it. Close enough. I am not going to sweat this. And keep in mind I'm going to stick a bunch of leaves in here anyway, so. Alright, so we got a nice tree-ish looking thing. Maybe another one, because I'm a glutton for punishment. It's a little baby, it's just a baby. Put a baby tree over here. Look at the little baby. Oh, he's deformed. Yeah, that's cool. I may not even put one on the other side. You guys having fun? You liking this? We got about 10 more minutes. I'm just going to throw some leaves on these. Play with some more brushes. We'll throw some flowers in real quick. Where's my maple leaves? These are my go-to leaves. Love this brush. Pick some other green color here. Hello, I'm back. Alright, lots of layers going on. Look at this. What can I collapse? We'll collapse the moss down. Free up that layer. Where's my tree? There they are. So we'll do the back leaves first. My brush, my little maple leaves. Pick a nice green color. And I'm going to go with a darker color. Very dark. Put it in over mode, of course. Thank you. Whew, it's a little bit big. Love this brush. Now watch this cool trick. I love this. I did it already with one of the with the moss, I think. Where you don't want more, I don't want more leaves, so you highlight them in over mode, or I'm sorry, in on mode. I know what I'm talking about. So you pick a highlight color, something you already got, and now we just go up to the top and we just highlight just the top. You're not adding more leaves, you're just adding highlights and shadows with the leaf shape on top of existing leaves. Be casual about it. Nature is very casual about everything she does. This is just the back set of leaves. We're going to do a front set too. See, so now you keep the original leaves, but now they have cool highlights on them. So now I can merge my trees down and work on that layer and add just a little more. We'll go here and pick the dark color again because you don't want them showing. Just to kind of beef it up a little bit in front. Not too much. Just to hide some of the branches. And then we pick the highlight color again and put it in on. And just hit that. There we go, as easy as that. Got that going. I'm kind of going from the premise that just the sun is more or less overhead. I'm working with just a general light direction, nothing really too specific. I'll show you how to do tree bark. You keep it in on mode, you put it in vector. This is the same thing that I do my mountains with. I do so many textures with this. That you pick the tree color and go with a highlight color of it and start scribbling. Helpful if it's actually on the trees. Scribbling up and down, back and forth, cross that line a lot of times. Do a little section, stop, do another little section. Just scribbling. That's all it is. I'll show you how it looks in close up here. Up and down, the direction of the bark, cross over a lot, come back where you started. Always end where you start. Very casual, very casual. Baby powder on the tip of your rubber stylus. Just remember that, because you have to be able to have this glide very quickly. Well, this came, art mode, this, I used to watch Bob Ross all the time. I think a lot of us did. And very early on in my digital art, I don't want to say career, but my time with digital art back when I had my 286, it was like, how can I do this? How can I do what he did with a computer? So, I mean, I've been, you know, doing this for a long time. Put a few highlights up in here. Sunlight getting through every once in a while. No big deal, just scribble. Cool, huh? Let's put some flowers in, wrap it up. We got 5 minutes, and I'll show you really quickly how to do some flowers. Pretty colors. We'll go with yellow. Yeah, we'll use blue. No, we got blue. We'll go with yellow. Go with brush. One of my favorite little flower brushes. Right there. It's probably in the nature section. So you go real teeny, keep your brush size teeny, and we'll just put some flowers up in here. Actually, I'd like to go smaller than that. And here, I want to show you a really cool trick. There you go. Put flowers in here. And just kind of, you know, again, just touch them in. Just kind of pat them in. Try not to be too formal about the whole thing. If you're doing, I'm going to turn the foreground on. Remember the foreground that we did? I'll demonstrate something for you. Really don't have to do it so much with this because of the distance. The little flowers are far enough away where I don't think you really have to worry much about it. Yeah, the flowers are just really one of those cool little extra touches. And I'll mix it up. We'll put some red ones in there too. Red or oranger. Just to sort of add a little color variation. Make them pop a little more. Your color choices are up to you. These could be purple flowers. I love purple against green. I love that combination. But I also like orange, yellow, and green together. I love that combination. It's very friendly. Alright, so just to wrap this up, let me show you. We'll turn this layer back on, the grass. I will very quickly go in with the grass brush and pick a highlight color from my palette back here. This has to be fairly large now. Larger. There we go. I'm just adding very quick lines, very quick, just to sort of suggest depth. You go back in, go in with the same thing. So I'm just picking with a darker color now. I lowered the opacity, very gently, very gently. See, it gives you like a texture. Okay. Now we're going to add, okay, I sound like Mr. Mackey. Okay, I'm going to add some flowers, okay. Now we'll put our purple flowers in. Okay. Anyway. So we'll boost this up. We want some good sized flowers here. If you really wanted to make this look good, you could like mess with the perspective thing. We'll put some purple flowers. But they look like they're kind of set on top, you know what I mean? They look kind of... So here's what you do. You go back to the grass brush. Now you put it in erase mode. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, you want to do it with a color. Sorry. If I had the flowers on another layer, I would use the erase mode. So we're just going to go over this. So you just kind of make this bottom edge with the grass brush. Kind of hit that so they... a couple of different colors. Maybe the darker. There we go. So you kind of, you know, it's like with the clouds. You preserve the top edge, but kind of destroy the bottom edge. And then it kind of blends them all in. How's that? There you go, ladies and gents. Right at 10 o'clock, a 2-hour class. There you go. Another GD landscape class for you. There you go. So in 2 short hours, you can imagine if I really took my time with these things. If you really take your time, you're going to get some really, you know, some good results. You can put more flowers on the bushes, all this stuff. But that's it. That's the basic idea. That's how I use those basic techniques. I'm glad you guys like it. I'm so happy you all showed up for my little soiree here. You're welcome. I love you guys. Kept it right at 2 hours, too. You are welcome. You're all welcome. If we're going to have a compo or not, go play. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's not, I don't know. It's not up to me. Ain't my choice. All right. Sing us out of here. I'm sad. I feel terrific when I feel bad. Who needs the sunshine when you got rain? Who needs the pleasure when you got the pain? You got the pain, yeah, yeah. You got the pain. You got the pain, yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's the really short version. Alright guys, thanks for coming. Shutting down the stream. Night. Hey, you know what? I got 3 minutes. Call you and all I could get was beep, beep, beep on the telephone. I tried again and all I could do was leave some stupid message after the tone. I don't know what I'd do, baby, if I can't get a hold of you. Well, maybe we could get together and stop this here tail chasing round, yeah. Chasing round, yeah. I thought I saw you in the grocery store, but it was just some other girl with your kind of hair. I tried your house and I knocked on your door, but nobody answered 'cause you weren't there. I don't know what I'd do, baby, if I can't get a hold of you. Well, maybe we could get together and stop this here tail chasing round, yeah. Tail chasing round, yeah. Yeah. Da 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 da. come out at the end of my chain, 'cause you're the best damn thing that I never had. I don't know what I'd do, baby, if I can't get a hold of you. Well, maybe we could get together and stop this here tail chasing round.